Chapter 9. The Wellness Center Vision. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. African proverb. Everything I've shared in this book, from interrupting depression to developing healing presence, has been leading to this. A vision of what becomes possible when people operating from pro-ease consciousness come together in physical space. Imagine a place where the air itself feels different, cleaner, more alive, more supportive of human thriving. Picture buildings designed not to maximize profit, but to maximize human potential. Envision communities where people help each other transform their demons into deities. I envision wellness centers that are more than just healing facilities. They're living demonstrations of what human community can look like when it's designed around consciousness rather than consumption, around well-being rather than profit, around service rather than exploitation. When I first imagined this, I felt a wave of energy run through me. It wasn't a cold chill. It was more electrifying and intense. Because a wellness center filled with pro-ease people might be better than our feeble concept of heaven. The physical environment. Architecture doesn't just shape space, it shapes how we live, move, and belong. S.K.O. Outdoor-centered design. The center would be designed around outdoor connection, not indoor isolation. From 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., we'd start each morning with sunlit activities: grounding, tai chi, sitting meditation, standing meditation, walking meditation, yoga. Simple practices focused on learning how to breathe properly. But these wouldn't just be limited to the mornings. They'd be available throughout the day. Picture wide-open courtyards where the morning light streams in, encouraging natural circadian rhythm restoration. Imagine covered outdoor areas where you can practice in any weather, always connected to the natural world. Natural architecture. The buildings would incorporate natural elements: woods, clays, stones, metals, crystals, magnetics, and electricity, all used in harmony, along with frequency-based technology, because magic was always only science not yet understood. A touch on magic. A big lighter would seem like magic to a caveman. An Alexa device hidden behind an immovable rock might convince them the rock can talk. But just like in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy pulls back the curtain, we see there's no spooky mysticism, just a man using technology, sometimes cleverly, sometimes devilishly. And let's be honest, we all use it. TVs, computers, phones, they're all made of metals, crystals, and electric components, so let's not be so quick to demonize the materials themselves. It's not about what they are, but how they're used, or more accurately, misused. Pocahontas poetically sang it perfectly. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. Treat everything like it's a living, conscious spirit. Science unadmittedly calls spirit many names: vibrations, frequencies, energy, and countless more. Everything that exists in this so-called physical dimension has a non-physical, spiritual counterpart or aspect to it that most of us can't see with the two physical naked eyes. So the natural elements of this place could and should be used for pure greatness. When mankind decides to make weapons from the Earth's essence, that's where we have a problem. But when we work with natural forces for healing and consciousness expansion, we're working with double real, or amplified reality. Building design principles. Consciousness supporting architecture. Natural materials: wood, stone, clay, crystals for electromagnetic harmony. Sacred geometry, proportions that naturally calm the nervous system. Light integration, Maximum natural light with adjustable artificial support. Sound design. Acoustic spaces for harmonic healing frequencies and silence. Energy flow. Feng Shui principles and bioharmonic design. Flexible living spaces. Of course, there will be sleeping quarters, but this will be a place where you can literally just fall asleep or meditate wherever you want, and people are somehow super okay with it as they calmly go about their days. For the stargazers and night owls, imagine outdoor balcony or rooftop lounging areas where people can peacefully gather and connect. Even better for those who are restless and just can't sleep. The goal is to create spaces that honor natural human rhythms rather than forcing people into artificial schedules and restrictions. Daily rhythm and structure. To walk with nature is to walk with truth, God, and creation itself. S.K.O. Morning foundation, 5 a.m., 8 a.m. Outdoor sunlit activities. Picture stepping outside into the crisp morning air, feeling the dew on the grass beneath your bare feet, breathing in air that tastes clean and alive. Grounding practices. Connecting with earth. Direct skin contact with the natural world, allowing the Earth's electromagnetic field to restore your body's natural rhythms. Various forms of meditation and movement. Tai Chi, flowing like water. Yoga, stretching toward the sun. Walking meditation through gardens. Sitting meditation under ancient trees. Breathing practices in fresh, purified air environments. Nourishment period, 8 a.m., 11 a.m. Fresh fruit and wellness-focused meals. Food grown on site with love and intention. Harvested at peak ripeness. Prepared by people who understand that cooking is a form of healing. Continued fasting for those who choose it. Respecting individual rhythms and understanding that sometimes the body heals better when not focused on digestion. Community preparation of food grown on site via soil, aero, and hydroponics, connecting people with the source of their nourishment. Education about how food affects consciousness. Understanding the direct connection between what you eat and how you think and feel. Service and growth, 11 a.m. evening. The middle part of each day would be dedicated to activities that help the world, while developing the participants. Environmental restoration. Planting trees, flowers, and food gardens, healing the earth while healing ourselves. Community cleanup. Removing trash and litter, advocating for environmental protection with real consequences for those who pollute our Mother Earth. Skill development. Learning better ways to take care of oceans, forests, and sustainable living. Creative expression. Art, music, writing, and other forms of authentic self-expression, creating beauty that uplifts the human spirit. Evening connection. Peaceful stargazing sessions. Lying on comfortable mats under the vast night sky, remembering our place in the cosmos, feeling the wonder that reconnects us to what really matters. Community gatherings. For meaningful conversation, sharing stories, insights, challenges, and victories in circles of authentic connection. Quiet connection spaces. For those who need solitude, understanding that healing sometimes requires deep inner work that can only be done alone. Sleep-friendly areas for natural rest cycles. Daily flow example. Sample day at the Wellness Center. 5:30 a.m., wake naturally with sunrise, breathe fresh air. 6 a.m., morning movement practice in nature. 7 a.m., Group meditation and intention setting. 8 a.m. Fresh fruit breakfast prepared with love. 9 a.m. Educational workshop on consciousness. 10 a.m. Individual reflection and journaling time. 11 a.m. Environmental service project. 1 p.m. Community lunch and meaningful conversation. 3 p.m. Creative expression workshop. 5 p.m. Personal development or healing session. 7 p.m. Community dinner and celebration. 8:30 p.m. Evening gathering under stars. 10 p.m. Natural rest as body desires. The healing infrastructure. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Thomas Edison. Human healing spaces. Rooms designed specifically for hands-on healing, where people who have developed massage therapy or healing abilities can work with others. We know this is real. There are documented cases of people who had near-death experiences and came back with healing hands. We should all have healing hands, words, ideas, and thoughts. John Chang and other Chi masters have this ability. Stop denying your powers. The integratron, proof of concept. If individuals can develop these documented healing abilities, imagine what becomes possible when we combine human consciousness with advanced technology designed for healing. This isn't theoretical. Frequency-based healing technology has been successfully built before. George Van Tassel spent over 20 years constructing the integratron, a revolutionary healing machine based on Nikola Tesla's suppressed research and George Lakhovsky's cellular frequency theories. Located in the California desert, this 38-foot dome structure was engineered as a high-voltage electrostatic generator that would supply a broad range of frequencies to recharge the cell structure. Van Tassel believed it could extend human life by recharging cellular energy through precise electromagnetic frequencies. The science was sound. Independent researchers validated the theoretical framework. The construction was 90% complete by 1978, with activation scheduled for the first human trials of frequency-based cellular regeneration. Then, just weeks before completion, George Van Tassel suddenly died of a heart attack on February 9, 1978. No prior heart conditions, no warning signs. The integratron was never activated. His epitaph reads, "Birth through induction, death by short circuit." The integratron still stands today, a monument to suppressed human potential and a warning about what happens when healing innovations get too close to reality. But this time will be different. This time, we're building a network of centers, not just one isolated project. This time, we're creating communities, people who understand the technology, not relying on a single genius. This time, the knowledge spreads faster than it can be suppressed. Van Tassel's dream doesn't have to die with him. The frequency-based healing he envisioned can become reality in our wellness centers, in what we'll call own domes, if we're smart enough to learn from his fate and protect what we're building. Protecting the vision. Learning from history. Van Tassel's fate teaches us that individual genius projects are vulnerable, but consciousness-based communities, operating as networks, are much harder to suppress. Here's how we protect these wellness centers from convenient accidents and systematic suppression. Legal protection strategies. Distributed ownership structure. No single person owns the critical technology or knowledge. Wellness centers operate as community cooperatives, where multiple people understand every aspect of the healing system. If one person disappears, the work continues. Open source documentation. All frequency healing technologies architectural plans, and operational procedures are publicly documented and distributed across multiple locations. Unlike Van Tassel's secretive approach, everything is transparent and replicable. Religious protection umbrella. Consciousness work and healing practices can be legally protected under religious freedom laws. Several wellness centers operating as spiritual communities or healing churches gain constitutional protections that purely secular operations don't have. International network distribution. Centers established across multiple countries and jurisdictions make coordinated suppression nearly impossible. What's illegal in one location may be protected in another. Operational security protocols. Multiple backup systems. Every healing technology has redundant systems and backup operators. No single point of failure can shut down the entire operation. Community witness protection. Large communities of people experiencing the healing benefits become powerful protection against suppression. It's harder to silence 100 witnesses than one inventor. Media documentation. Continuous video documentation of healing results, community life, and technology operation creates public accountability. Mysterious deaths or sudden shutdowns become immediately suspicious when everything is transparently recorded. Political relationship building. Establishing relationships with local officials, law enforcement, and community leaders creates protective networks that make suppression politically costly. The network effect protection. Rapid replication protocol. When one center proves successful, immediately establish 5 to 10 more using the same systems. By the time suppression forces organize, the model has already spread beyond their ability to contain. Information viral distribution. Knowledge spreads through books, videos, workshops, and online communities faster than it can be suppressed. This book itself is part of that protection strategy. Thousands of people learning these principles simultaneously. Economic independence networks. Centers that produce their own food, water, and energy, while operating outside traditional economic systems, become harder to pressure through financial leverage. The ultimate protection. Critical mass. The best protection against suppression is reaching critical mass, the point where so many people understand and practice these principles that suppressing them becomes impossible. When 10,000 people know how to interrupt oppression in real time, you can't silence them all. When 100 wellness centers demonstrate frequency-based healing, you can't shut them all down. When entire communities operate from pro-ease consciousness, the old systems become irrelevant rather than needing to be fought. Van Tassel was a lone genius working in isolation. We're building a movement of conscious communities working in cooperation. That's the difference between vulnerability and unstoppable transformation. The lesson for our wellness centers: document everything. Protect the technology. Train multiple people in its operation. Because when healing technologies threaten systems that profit from sickness, their inventors have a habit of dying at convenient moments. Of course, not all healing requires advanced technology. Animal therapy integration. Dogs and other animals integrated into the healing process because they have the ability to be non-judgmental and can be trained to be incredible companions for people working through trauma and depression. Imagine horses that serve as mirrors for emotional states, cats that naturally find people who need comfort, therapy dogs trained to sense depression and provide exactly the right kind of support. Zen practice rooms. Dedicated spaces for maintaining Zen-like practices in certain rooms of the center. Places where people can access deep stillness and connect with that inner awareness that's always been there. Rooms designed with perfect acoustics for silence, with natural lighting that shifts throughout the day, with air that feels somehow lighter and more supportive of consciousness. Natural technology integration. Since metals, crystals, and electricity are all tangibly real, why not combine them in ways that serve healing and consciousness? This isn't about high-tech gadgets. It's about working with natural forces in ways that amplify human potential rather than diminishing it. Wellness treatments and offerings. Healing doesn't force the sun to shine. It simply opens the blinds. S.K.O. Here are 25 spiritual wellness treatments a meditation or spiritual healing center could provide. Meditation and mindfulness practices. Guided meditation journeys. Themed experiences. Inner child. Heart opening. Higher self. Silent vipassana sessions. Extended silent retreats or day stillness immersions. Breathwork therapy. Rebirthing, holotropic, or conscious connected breathing. Walking meditation in nature. Grounding, slow-paced barefoot forest immersion. Sound healing meditation. Gongs, crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, and tuning forks. Energy and spiritual healing. Reiki energy healing, individual or group attunement and chakra rebalancing. Chakra balancing and activation. With crystals, sound, breath, or touch. Aura cleansing and light field tuning. Using sage, aura combs, or energy visualization. Quantum healing hypnosis. Past life regression and higher self-guidance sessions. Spiritual energy alignments. For divine masculine-feminine balance. Soul path clarity. Body-based sacred practices. Sacred movement, ecstatic dance. Uninhibited movement to release and awaken. Yin and restorative yoga. Gentle postures to release trauma and tension. Tantric energy flow sessions. Non-sexual embodiment of sacred life force. Ayurvedic healing rituals. Oil therapies, abhyanga massage, herbal steam. Somatic release therapy. Trauma-informed practices to release stored emotion. Rituals and sacred ceremonies. Cacao, heart-opening ceremony. Guided with music, intention, and group energy. New moon, full moon circles. With journaling, sharing, sound, or manifestation rites. Fire or water release ceremonies. Letting go rituals with intention setting. Grief and ancestral healing circles. Sacred holding for release, forgiveness, and connection. Manifestation and visioning workshops. Conscious goal setting with spiritual tools. Integration, coaching, and inner work. Spiritual life coaching, one-to-one support to align purpose, intuition, and healing path. Shadow work sessions. Guided inner child healing, archetype integration, and deep inquiry. Soul mapping or Akashic record reading. Accessing deeper soul information and guidance. Creative expression therapy. Unlocking emotion and wisdom through creative channels. Nature-based vision quests. Solo time in nature for clarity and spiritual connection. The economic model. Change isn't coming, it's already breathing. In every whisper of justice, in every refusal to give up, another world is breaking through. S.K.O. Beyond wage slavery. The Wellness Center would operate as an alternative to the traditional economic system that traps people in soul-crushing jobs. If people can grow their own healthy food at the center, they don't have to buy poisonous food from evil corporations. They know their food contains real ingredients, and the most important ingredient, love. Water independence. Natural water purification systems, using fresh rainwater or air-to-water technology, like the machine the black inventor Moses West already built. He founded AWG Contracting LLC and the Moses West Foundation, dedicating himself to bringing clean, affordable water to those in need. I envision purified but ionically charged waterways, flowing like indoor streams, fountains, and springs, living water that energizes rather than just hydrates. Rediscovering Nikola Tesla-like tech, we need buildings with capstones or Tesla-coiled antennas that are capable of tapping into and harnessing the free energy in the atmosphere. We now know cars can practically run off of water, so generators or other engines and machinery should also. Combine this concept with the atmospheric water generator and a harmonic frequency emitter, we have a totally different world already, steampunk-like. These are just a few ideas to inspire, encourage, and manifest this greater reality. Basic needs coverage. We only need food, shelter, clothes, and water. Eventually, we'll only need love and consciousness, none of which require megacorporations to obtain. They can only sell you poison in every form imaginable. The Wellness Center becomes a demonstration that small communities can provide everything humans actually need, want, and could ever hope for, without participating in exploitative systems. The hub concept. The Wellness Center is just the beginning, a hub. The vision is multiple centers, creating a network of liberated communities where people don't just visit for healing, they can live, work, and thrive there. Revolutionary economics. Beyond the money system. Basic needs provided. Food, water, shelter, clothing, through community cooperation. Gift economy. People contribute their unique talents freely. Resource sharing, tools, spaces, and knowledge available to all. Skill exchange. Teaching and learning as forms of currency. Abundance mindset. Enough for everyone when we work together. The population and entry. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Buddhist proverb. Flexible participation. A typical day would be up to the individual. Energy must be righteous, or access can and will be denied. People can check in when they please and leave when they please. This isn't a cult or commune with rigid rules. But authenticity is a must. It's a space that honors individual autonomy while providing community support. Readiness-based admission. There has to be at least one person or one definitive example of what pro-ease looks like, does, and feels like. Once people can grasp the concept, it's up to the individual to decide if they're ready to want that for themselves. If someone's not ready to give up their demons or transform them into higher elevated energies, they're not ready for this environment. The center would naturally attract people who are genuinely committed to consciousness work, not just spiritual tourism. Community standards. Entrance requirements. Genuine seeking. Real desire for transformation, not just escape. Personal responsibility. Willingness to do inner work. Service orientation. Understanding that healing includes helping others. Respect for community. Honoring others' journeys and boundaries. Authenticity. No pretending, performing, or spiritual materialism. Handling resistance and toxicity. The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Blade Runner. Clear boundaries. People who are too stuck in old, non-validated beliefs, rigid religious dogma, political extremism, or closed mindsets wouldn't thrive in this environment. This isn't about excluding people, It's about maintaining an energetic environment where healing can actually occur. No room for manufactured toxicity. There would be no room for systems that constantly reinvent, resurrect, or manifest the bullshit that keeps people trapped in manufactured depression. The center would be actively designed to counteract the toxic programming that pervades mainstream society. No news channels broadcasting fear. No advertising designed to create inadequacy. No social media algorithms optimized for addiction. No entertainment that glorifies violence or materialism. Protection protocols. Maintaining healing space. Energy assessment. Sensing people's intentions and readiness. Gradual integration. Allowing time for adjustment to higher frequencies. Support systems. Helping people process resistance and old patterns. Clear communication. Honest feedback about behavior and energy. Loving boundaries. Firm limits held with compassion. The transformation potential. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. Beyond human to superhuman. A wellness center filled with pro-eased people operating at higher consciousness levels would create an amplification effect. We'd definitely be superhuman in our capacity for healing, creativity, and service. Maybe we'd even evolve into something higher, not gods in an ego sense, but conscious beings operating at our full potential. The healing police force. Instead of law enforcement that controls through fear, we'd become like a police force that goes out every day to spread love, bliss, and joy to the world, healing everything we touch. This isn't policing in the traditional sense, and it's definitely not the knock at your door Jehovah's Witness strategy. It's conscious intervention in the world's suffering. Imagine teams of healed people who respond to crises not with weapons, but with presence, wisdom, and genuine care. Who see problems as opportunities for healing rather than threats to control. Collective chi development. When enough people who have developed healing presence come together, the combined energy field becomes something far greater than the sum of its parts. This could be where we collectively learn chi power and what it can do, changing everything we thought we knew about human potential. Superhuman possibilities. Collective consciousness amplification. Enhanced intuition. Group decisions based on collective wisdom. Healing abilities. Combined energy creating powerful healing fields. Creative breakthroughs. Solutions emerging from group consciousness. Psychic development. Natural expansion of perception and abilities. Manifestation power. Collective intention creating rapid change. The ripple effect. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. Spreading pro-ease. Just like disease spreads, pro-ease would spread. And yes, I want this to be super contagious because I want to see you happy and healthy as fuck, to put it bluntly. And please don't let that word be bigger than you. People who experience this level of wellness and community connection would naturally want to create similar spaces in their own areas. The network effect would be organic and unstoppable, like a positive virus of consciousness spreading from person to person, community to community, until the old systems of manufactured depression simply couldn't compete. Economic liberation. As more people opt out of the manufactured depression system and into pro-ease communities, the economic stranglehold of corporations that profit from human suffering would begin to weaken. They would be forced to make better products to exist. I mean, think about it. Aren't you tired of all the artificialness and materialism? Don't you want to at least taste true freedom? cultural evolution. These centers would become laboratories for evolving human culture beyond its current limitations. New forms of art, education, governance, and relationship would emerge naturally from communities operating at higher consciousness levels. What happens when people aren't constantly stressed about survival? What kind of art do they create? What kind of innovations emerge? What kind of relationships do they build? Global Transformation Timeline. The Spreading Contagion, Year 1. First Wellness Center established and proven successful. Year 3. 10 centers across different regions sharing knowledge. Year 5. 100 centers creating network effects and economic impact. Year 10. 1,000 centers reaching tipping point for cultural change. Year 20. New economic model challenging traditional systems. Beyond. Consciousness-based civilization emerging. The vision becomes reality. All great changes are preceded by chaos. Deepak Chopra. I don't even know exactly how to start a wellness center yet. I haven't researched the requirements. But I know this vision is not just possible, it's inevitable. As more people wake up to the manufactured nature of their depression and reclaim their power to create their own mental states, communities like this will naturally emerge. The book you're reading is the first step. It creates the consciousness that builds the centers. Once enough people understand these principles and experience their own transformation, the resources, land, and expertise needed to manifest these spaces will naturally converge. This isn't just about healing individual depression anymore. This is about creating an alternative reality where human beings can live, work, and grow together in ways that honor our true nature rather than exploiting our weaknesses. The Wellness Center vision represents the next phase of human evolution, not through technology or genetic manipulation, but through conscious community and the cultivation of our innate healing abilities. And it all starts with individuals who have learned to transform their own manufactured depression into authentic well-being, gathering together to create something the world has never seen before, something that might just be better than heaven. Chapter Summary. Key takeaways from Chapter 9. Wellness centers represent conscious community design for human thriving. Natural architecture and technology can amplify human potential. Economic models based on cooperation rather than exploitation are possible. Collective consciousness creates amplification effects beyond individual capacity. Pro-ease spreads naturally when people experience authentic well-being. These communities become laboratories for cultural evolution. The vision starts with individual transformation and spreads organically. Reflection questions. What aspects of the Wellness Center vision resonate most with you? How might your community look different if designed around consciousness rather than consumption? What role would you want to play in creating or supporting such a community? In our final chapter, we'll explore how this individual transformation becomes collective transformation, and how you become part of spreading this contagion of healing across the world.